Join us as we explore the world of river monsters in the Ohio River. This video reveals the legends and folklore tales surrounding the mysterious creatures that lurk beneath the surface. From serpents and snakes to the infamous green-clawed beast, the Ohio River hides something far more sinister than it appears. For generations, there have been chilling stories of creatures lurking in the depths of the Ohio River. These are not just myths, but accounts of real people who have witnessed something rise from the depths that defies explanation. The truth is clear for those who know where to look. Something monstrous lives in the Ohio River, which might just be watching you, ready to strike when you least expect it. It was August 11th, 1849, when John Waite, a respected man in Claremont County, swore an affidavit claiming that he had seen a snake like no other, a snake over 30 feet in length. Waite spotted the beast, lying along the banks of Hartman's Mill Pond, its body impossibly long, its dark eyes glistening in the afternoon sun. He immediately knew what he saw was unnatural. The local authorities took his claims seriously, organizing a posse to search for the creature. The entire community gathered to witness the hunt, but the beast seemed to have vanished. They drained the mill pond, hoping to find it hidden beneath the murky waters, but the snake had disappeared as mysteriously as it had arrived. Still, the sightings continued, for years. By 1858, nearly a decade after John Waite's original sighting, the Cincinnati Commercial Tribune reported that a flood had destroyed the dam at Hartman's Mill. Many believed that the flood had allowed the snake to escape. It was assumed that the giant serpent had made its way into the Ohio River, disappearing into its dark depths, where it could hide indefinitely. But the story didn't end there. Reports of giant snakes in the Ohio River became common over the years, but none would be quite as terrifying as the tale from Gallipolis in 1940. According to a Cincinnati Post article from that year, citizens living near Gallipolis began reporting sightings of a snake more enormous than anything they'd ever seen. They described it as a serpent, easily over 35 feet long, slithering through the river's shallow waters, its massive body capable of felling trees as it moved. The fear spread quickly, and the Cincinnati Zoo even offered to assist in tracking down the beast. The snake became an obsession for those living near the river. Some claimed they saw it emerge at dusk, its dark, slick body moving silently along the riverbanks, only to vanish when the fog rolled in. Others believed the snake was a remnant from the flood of 1858, a creature that had lived unseen in the river's depths for decades, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Coincidence? Perhaps. But the people of Gallipolis weren't so sure. The Ohio River has always been home to real and imagined monsters. In April of 2023, Jayen Parker, a 15-year-old girl from New Richmond, pulled a 101.11-pound blue catfish from the river while jug fishing with her family. The fish was so large, it took her father and a family friend to help her reel it in. It was a record breaker, the largest blue catfish ever caught in Ohio. For Jayen, it was the catch of a lifetime. But for those who know the stories of the Ohio River, it was a reminder that something much larger still lurks beneath its surface. The monsters of the Ohio River take many forms. And then there's the story of Mrs. Darwin Johnson, a tale that has haunted the residents near Evansville, Indiana, for more than half a century. It was August 21st, 1955, a hot summer day, when Mrs. Johnson and her friend decided to swim in the Ohio River, a decision she would regret for the rest of her life. Something beneath the surface stirred as the two women swam, laughing and enjoying the cool water. Without warning, Mrs. Johnson felt a cold, powerful grip around her leg. At first, she thought it was her friend playing a prank, but panic set in as the grip tightened and pulled her under. Whatever had grabbed her wasn't human. She struggled, kicking and clawing at the water, trying desperately to free herself, but the force that had taken hold of her was relentless, pulling her deeper into the river's murky depths. Her lungs screamed for air as she fought to break the surface. Finally, with a desperate surge of energy, she managed to tear herself free and rise above the waterline, gasping for breath. When Mrs. Johnson reached the shore, trembling and drenched, she discovered the true horror of her encounter. 4 long, jagged claw marks ran down her leg, deep bruises already forming around them. Whatever had grabbed her left a mark that would not fade for days, as if the creature had tried to drag her down to some place darker, a place beneath the surface where no one ever returns. The locals whispered about the green-clawed beast, a name that sent shivers down the spines of those who had lived along the river for generations. Mrs. Johnson wasn't the first to encounter something strange in these waters, and certainly wouldn't be the last. There had been stories, warnings really, about a creature that lurked beneath the Ohio River, waiting for the unwary. In the years before Mrs. Johnson's encounter, other swimmers had felt it too, a cold hand, rough and scaly, brushing against their legs as they swam. Many dismissed these experiences as figments of their imagination, a trick of the current or the touch of underwater debris. But the truth was far more terrifying for those who knew the legend. One fisherman from a nearby town, Harold Mills, recalled an evening in the late 1940s when he was wading waist-deep in the river, casting his line. He had been standing still for what felt like hours, the gentle current lulling him into a sense of calm. But then, without warning, something wrapped around his ankle. Something substantial, something alive. He glanced down, expecting a fish or some driftwood, but saw nothing. Before he could react, it pulled him, tugging him into the water. "I'll never forget it," Mills would later tell the local paper. "I couldn't see a thing, but I felt it. It was wet, slimy, and strong. Stronger than any animal I'd ever encountered in the river. I barely made it out. It let go, just as I thought I was done for." What had grabbed him, he couldn't say, but the feeling haunted him for the rest of his life. Harold never fished in the Ohio River again. Others had reported similar encounters. In 1937, during the Ohio River flood, rescuers swore they saw something moving beneath the water as they navigated the flooded streets of towns near the river. At first, they believed it to be debris, a floating log, or perhaps a large fish. But as they approached, they realized the mass beneath the surface was moving too fast, too deliberately. It wasn't long before they saw a large, dark shape swimming against the current, circling the rescue boat as if hunting. No one spoke of it after the flood, but the story spread through the river towns, whispered in hushed tones late at night. A creature that thrived when the river was angry, when it had risen to claim what lay along its banks. By the time Mrs. Johnson was pulled under in 1955, the legend of the green-clawed beast had already woven itself into the fabric of the Ohio River's dark history. The beast was said to be ancient, older than the towns that lined the river, older than the settlers who had first arrived on its banks. Some claimed it was a guardian of the river, a force of nature that appeared when the water was disturbed or when the river was disrespected. But for those who had felt its grip, it was nothing more than a monster, a predator lurking in the shadows, waiting for the next swimmer to stray too far from shore. There have been no sightings of the green-clawed beast in recent years, but that doesn't mean it's gone. Even more terrifying than the green-clawed beast are the rumors of serpents as large as boats, their bodies capable of dragging anything or anyone beneath the surface. Back in 1893, pleasure boaters near Blennerhassett Island claimed to have seen a monstrous serpent, its bulbous eyes staring at them as it slithered through the river's shallow waters. They estimated the creature to be at least 10 feet long, with a thick body that could knock over trees as it moved. The people of the Ohio River Valley have always told stories of serpents and monsters, creatures born of the river, hiding in its depths, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. And while some of these stories may be exaggerated, others, well, they're too detailed to dismiss. The Ohio River is more than just a body of water. It's a graveyard of secrets, hiding creatures both real and legendary. The river has always had monsters, from the giant snakes seen along Hartman's mill pond to the serpent spotted near Gallipolis and the monstrous catfish pulled from its depths. Some are real enough to be caught, while others remain lurking in the shadows, waiting for their moment. So, the next time you stand by the Ohio River's edge, remember, what lies beneath is far older, far larger, and far more dangerous than you think. The giant snakes that slither through its depths may not show themselves often, but you'll wish you had stayed far away from the water's edge when they do. Beware the monsters of the Ohio River, for they are always watching, always waiting. The tales of the Ohio River monsters are a fascinating blend of reality and myth, with each new sighting or encounter adding to their allure. As we continue to explore the unknown, we may uncover evidence that sheds new light on these legends. But for now, they remain a fascinating mystery that continues to captivate our imagination. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the world of Ohio River monsters. If you've got your own monster story to share, leave it in the comments below. And if you want to explore more mysterious creatures from around the world, be sure to check out our next video.